Hmm. Okay, good afternoon to all of you. We have completed up to DPSP. Due to certain unavoidable circumstances, we have not continued the classes. We have missed some classes. That is say like union executive. So due to certain circumstances, we could not do that. Today we shall be starting with a new chapter, executive, especially union executive. So what is the business of the executive? What does executive do? Executive implements the law, or it is an implementing body. It is an implementing body. It is an implementing authority or implementing body. It executes the law. It executes the provisions, the law, and kind of runs the government, the runs the machinery of the government. It what it in a parliamentary setup, in a parliamentary setup, it is responsible to the legislature, to the union legislature, but to the legislature. Lecture to the legislature for its for for its acts of omission and commission, means for all its activities it is responsible to legislature, and hence it also plays a pivotal role in the smooth functioning of the parliament. So, in a typical parliamentary arrangement, the executive is a part of the legislature. It plays a very pivotal role in the smooth functioning of parliament. In fact, the prime minister is the leader of the house, especially of Lok Sabha, and the business of the parliament is decided by the government, by the prime minister and the cabinet. So it has also parliament under its hand. So it regulates the parliament. That is also a point to be remembered. And executive feels, or an executive proposes a law, proposes a law or a draft law, and gets it approved by the parliament. It also proposes the amendments. If any ever executive proposes amendments in the constitution, so it is executive which feels the need for a constitutional change, because executive is in active government. It is government, you can say it is government in action. It feels the need for an amendment in the constitution, so it brings the proposal before the parliament and also arranges for its approval. So an executive which plays or it is in a central position in a parliamentary government. You can compare suppose of the executive in presidential government and in parliamentary government. Executive in a presidential parliamentary government is more task laden than that of than the executive in presidential government. So executive has a vital role to play in the success of parliamentary democracy that prevails in India. So these are the business of the executive. And I told you that there are two types of executive. We can say there are, in broader sense, there are political executive and your permanent executive. Political executives are elected and they are recruited. They are recruited. Political executives retains more power or final decision-making authority, whereas permanent executives are to be directed by the political executives. Political executive carries or holds a significant position in the system of government. Permanent executives are so called because they are recruited for a long period of time. They are public servants and they have chosen public service as their career. So they are permanent executives and they function under the direction of the political executives. So there are political executives and permanent executives both in states and at the center also. Then political executives are there is like the permanent executive, there is central cadre and state cadre, center and states. So also there is you can say there is union executive or central executive and state executive. Union executive consists of president, vice president, prime minister, council of ministers, and attorney general of India. Attorney general of India. And state executive in that light consists of governor and your CM and council of ministers, then advocate general. So these are political executives and these are state union executive state. So we should have a fundamental idea about this. So yeah, this is the executive structure and we have discussed executive functions also in a brief manner to enable you to understand the business of the executive. Remember, executive is a vital part of the government. So we shall first discuss president, union executive. We are talking about union executive as of now. So that is president. As it is an online class, so we have made everything on the slide, but for your reference in later time. But let me say that union executive is called the central government or the central executive. It is in a parliamentary system. of government, and India has a typical arrangement like quasi-federal setup. In a quasi-federal system, the central government has had more and substantial powers in comparison to the state government. So, union executive is a very important segment of our political system. It governs the country, it regulates the system, and also it acts up to the expectation of the constitution. So as we have a federal system and a typical federal system that we call quasi-federal setup, union executive has vital role to play. And that executive part is mentioned in the constitution. It is a constitutional arrangement in part B of the constitution. 52 to 78 articles covers the functions, composition, functions, and other related matters of the executive. 52 to 78. And I told you Union Executive consists of this much of dignitaries, and President is the head of the executive. In fact, where there is a provision of nominal and there is a provision in a parliamentary setup, in a parliamentary setup, in a parliamentary setup by arrangement, there is a there is a must provision of nominal and real executive. So here executive means head of the state, and real executive means head of the government. So prime minister is the real executive and nominal head is the president. So president is the nominal head of the executive. He is the head of the state and also the first citizen of the country. He is the symbol of unity and integrity and solidarity of the nation. He represents not only the center but also the states. President belongs to both. He belongs to the union government, he belongs to the state government. He is the president of India. So he is the symbol of unity and integrity, solidarity of the nation. He is the guardian of the constitution. In case constitution is under threat or constitution is in danger, in peril, it is the duty of the president or it is the office of the president that acts to protect the constitution. He is called the defender, protector, preserver of the constitution. He is called the protector of the constitution, defender of the constitution, defender of the constitution, and preserver of the constitution. So the office of the president is modeled upon the office of the president of America, but the dual head, nominal head and executive head, that is borrowing from the parliamentary tradition prevalent in UK. So that is the scheme also. President is the supreme commander of the armed forces. We shall discuss that. So when there is a prime minister and as the head of the government and he functions all the he runs the government, he regulates the government, he is the head of the government, he is the man behind the system, he takes major decision and in fact he is the first among the equals, he is the captain of the ship, he is the master of the government, his decisions cannot be overruled and his decisions cannot be ignored, and he takes final decisions. He has ultimate say over the any matter related to the government. Hence, Grips has rightly called him the master of the government, and he is you can say he is the moon among the stars. He is the sun in the solar system, means he is the sun in the system of the government. So he enjoys undisputable and unchallenging powers nothing is there to resist the Prime Minister. It is rightly said that all the roads of the Constitution lead to Parliament. All the roads to the Constitution, all the roads to the Constitution leads to President. So President is important figure or important constitutional office in India. The Prime Minister, sorry, all the roads leads to the Prime Minister, office of the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister is the ultimate decision maker. So when there is a absolute democrat, absolute democratic leader, Prime Minister with nearly absolute powers, then why there is a need for President? What is the need for the office of the President? And even he is a nominal head or an ornamental head or a figurehead or a ceremonial head ତାଙ୍କୁ କୁହାଯାଏ ବହୁତ ସାରା ଜିନିଷ କୁହାଯାଏ ceremonial head is ceremonial ornamental tutelar isn't it nominal de jure head of the nation head of the state. So what is the need for such a figurehead if he doesn't have anything to do? But the claim is the office of the president is not a redundant office or a office without any use, without any purpose. How can we have a system? How can we have such a huge office, such a tall office without any importance, without any significance, if there is no need? So there is greater need for the office of the president. So the why the president is need, there are certain points justify the need for a president in India. First of all, he is the unity and integrity of the country. How? He is the representative of the states, or he not only belongs to not only to the union government but also to the state government. When there is a better relationship between or among the states or between the central government and state government, it is the president who comes to resolve the deadlock, and he ensures that there prevails an effective and durable relationship between the center and state. He is also that is he also ensures that the constitution is being followed in letter and spirit by each organ of the government and each body associated with the government. Hence, it's called the symbol of unity and integrity of the country. He has powers to provide checks and balances to the government. He checks and balances the government. Means he checks the arbitrariness of the government with his power to assent the bill. He ensures that every bill has a purpose and every bill is supported by the constitution. If any time the government wants to deviate the constitution, or if any proposal of the government deviates the constitution or dilutes the provisions of the constitution or violates the constitution or transgresses the constitution or contravenes the constitution, it is the president who comes to check it. He has veto power and he may give a check to the and whenever the president feels that a bill is not properly passed by the parliament, or if there are any faults in the bill presented before him, he has the power to return it for to the parliament for its reconsideration. So that is another matter ki after reconsideration, if the parliament sends back the bill to the president with or without amendment, then president is bound to assent it, so we can return the bill for only for a single time, only for once. That is to remember. But sir, okay, so that is the things we are delayed due to technical defects. So what I told you, he can return the bill for the consideration for once, but whatever may be, he is the man, he is the office which checks every organ, or which prevents every organ, each organ of the government from being arbitrary or despotic. Then the president has a federal role of the president, means he is the symbol of the federation. President not only belongs to the union, but also he belongs to, he not only belongs to the the union, but also to the states. He has a duty towards strengthening the federal fabric of the nation. He represents every part of India. So, president is the symbol of federation. And whenever any state legislature passes a bill affecting the federal relationship in India, the governor reserves the bill for the consideration of the president, and the bill becomes an act after the president assents the bill. Certain bills, and also when there is a state emergency, the president takes over the power to rule the state. So he brings a balance between the central government and state government, and ensures that the federal character of the constitution is protected, preserved. He ensures that there is an effective relationship between central and states. That is also a point to be remembered. And certain bills he considers when it affects the federal relationship. Okay, that is the things. Now, president has the authority to correct judicial error. It is called pardoning power of the president. Pardoning power. Under Article 72 of the Constitution, so he grants pardon, commutation, and remission. Okay, so that is the things. Okay, so that is the things. He corrects and he grants pardons, commutation, remission, and respite, reprieve to any judgment delivered by the court, okay, or any convict. He delivered to any convict, the person, convicted person who is being accused or who is convicted by the court. So when president grants pardon, the person gets free and he doesn't suffer from the punishment. So it is also a very unique, it is a unique power of the president, that he has the authority. It is called judicial power, you can say. He has judicial authority, so he can grant pardons to a convicted person who is suffering from a judgment, conviction, judge sentence, or a sentence delivered by the competent court. So it is also a unique power. Then continuity of administration. It is the president who bridges the gap between government and absence of government. When the preceding prime minister resigns or dies suddenly, it is the president who takes over the charge of Indian administration and continues to govern the country until the elected government is or executive is appointed. So unless without if president is not there, if president were not there, it would be impossible to bring back to normalcy. There would have been anarchy, there would have been lawlessness, there would have been chaos, there would have been absence of government, and it might have resulted into many aspects, many things like fragmentation of the country, division of the country. Anything could have happened. But president sustains the shock to the government. He is the bridge between the government and the absence of government. So whenever dies, I told you, president takes over the charge, and until new government is established, he continues. So it is a pivotal role of the president. He's like an emergency light, as said by ex-president R. Venkatraman, who described the office of the president as emergency light. It has significance when there is darkness. So president has no role to play when there is light, but he has a lot of role to play when there is darkness. It means when there is absence of government, when there is lawlessness, when there is absence of constitutional sanctity, then it is the president who comes to the rescue of the constitution. Hence, he is the bridge between the gap. He is bridge between the absent government and absence of government. He is the symbol of continuity of administration in India, that I told you. So these are the points that are essential to mention why there is a need for president. Okay, so this is the things, and I told you he is called the emergency light. He is called the emergency light. That is the need for president. Now we shall talk about president's qualification and the election and how office is arranged, or what is their constitutional provision for the president. The Article 52 of the Constitution says that there shall be a president of India. Article 52 of the Constitution, Article 52 says that, or reads that, there shall be a president of India. The office of president is sanctioned by the Constitution. What does it imply? It implies that the office of the president is sanctioned by the president. He must be there. And there is a need for office of the president, and there is a need for the president to be elected. And there must be a president. The office of the president cannot fall vacant for a single time, for a single day. So the Constitution provides to meet the contingency situation when there is no president, or the sitting president dies or resigns or is removed by the parliament, whatever it may be. So when there is a vacancy in the office of the president, the vice president will take over the charge, and if the vice president is not capable of taking charge, then the Chief Justice of India will be invited to take up the position, and if Chief Justice of India is not there, then the senior most judge of the Supreme Court may be may be elected, may be that is direct, may be provided to take over the charge. So the Constitution allows no vacancy in the office of the president, means for a single day it has to always be manned or occupied. Then what are the qualifications of the what is the basic necessary qualifications required for a person to become the president of India? Qualifications of the president are mentioned in Article 58 of the Constitution. And the Constitution states that a person must be a citizen of India, even including naturalized citizens, and he must have attained 35 years of age or above, and he should be qualified as a member of the House of People. These are the three basic qualifications of the president mentioned in 58. And apart from that, there are in 59 there are conditions of president's office. So it is conditions of president office. Of office of the president. Under Article 59. Is that clear? So 59 article contains condition, and what is the condition? That he should not hold any office of profit. He should not hold any office of profit, first thing. Any office of profit is a term that is associated with that is, you can say, the office of the profit is an office that is decided by the parliament, which office is an office of profit which gets remuneration. That is, you can say the remuneration of certain amount of remuneration he receives, then you can call the office of profit. So any office that draws salary or that gets remuneration will be called, it's called office of profit. So president is barred from having any office of profit, but certain offices are exempted from the office of profit. Okay. So that is the things. And so president, another condition. So yes, what I am telling you, that certain offices are exempted from office of profit, means a sitting president is exempted, a vice president of the union, governor of any state, minister of any state is not deemed to hold any office of profit and hence qualified as a presidential candidate. So they need not to resign, they will contest, but other office holders, they have to resign before filing their nomination to contest the election of the president. But these offices are not required to demit the house or to demit the post or to leave the post or to resign in order to contest the elections of the president. That is one condition applied. Okay, another condition you can say number 2, that is he or she shall not be a member of any house or any state legislature or anything like that. If a member is elected to the office of the president, then he shall be deemed to have vacated his seat in that house on the date on which he enters the office of the president. Then He is also entitled to a presidential palace or presidential house in New Delhi, and at several places he has also certain palatial building and privileges. His official residence are provided at various places in India, Hyderabad, Pachmari, Jammu Kashmir probably. There are several places where president has official arrangement, residence. And he is entitled to post-retirement benefits like pension. His emoluments and charges, the emoluments and allowances cannot be disputed. So salary and allowances are non-votable expenditure. So these are the basically the four conditions that are provided in under Article 59 of the Constitution for the office of the President. So they can be changed by Parliament through an act, and any change is required. Okay, these are the qualification and conditions of the office of the President. Kindly take a note of this. Then the proper number of proposers and seconders. Proposers and seconders are there. Number of proposers and seconders are there, and this number has been increased from 10 to probably 50 in 1997. And the purpose of having so many number of proposers and seconders for a presidential candidate is to avoid participation of non-serious candidates. So this is the provision why there is a fixed 50 members, 50 electors as proposers and 50 electors as your what 60 electors as your you can say seconders, and it has been increased since 1997. Apart from proposers and electors means those who will participate in the election of the president like MPs and MLAs. So they will be proposer and they will be seconders. And a candidate is required to deposit a sum of rupees 15,000 with the Reserve Bank of India. This security deposit is liable to be forfeited in the case the candidate fails to secure 1/6 of the votes polled, valid votes polled, you can say. So that is provisions. Every election has this type of provisions. Okay, then oath or affirmation. Oath or affirmation. So before that, let us have a brief idea about election of the president. If you remember, the provision or the principle of election of the President of India is taken from Irish Constitution, method of elections. So election that president shall be elected. The president shall be elected is provided in 54 article 54, and the method of election is provided in Article 15(5). So two articles are related to election of the president. One is Article 54 and 55. ठीक है जी? Then how is he elected? President is elected by an electoral college consisting of the elected members of both houses. That is elected members of both houses of parliament and elected members of legislative assemblies of the states and legislative assembly of the Union Territory of Delhi, Puducherry and Abhay River, which we can add J and K if possible. So kindly remember that only elected members of parliament and state legislatures participate, not nominated members. There are especially two kinds of members in parliament or state legislature. One is elected, which is more in number, and some of them, or a few of them, are nominated. But in the election of the president, only elected members participate in the election, not the nominated member. Okay, so that we have written, nominated members do not participate, and another segment which does not participate also the state legislative council. Members of state legislative council do not have any participation, do not have any entry in the election. When an assembly is dissolved, the members of the case to be qualified vote in the presidential election. It another point key. If there are 28 states, there are 28 states assembly. And if one of them is dissolved, if one of them is dissolved, one of them doesn't have the assembly right now, the assembly has been dissolved and fresh election is not declared also. But the members of the deceased assembly will not participate in the election of the president. And if out of 28 states, take example, there are 4 states whose legislative assemblies have been dissolved before the election of the president, they will not participate, they will not be counted, and it is called vacancy in the electoral college. So vacancy will not affect. And in order to, with a view to maintaining uniformity in the scale of representation of different states as well as parity between the states as a whole and the union at the election of the president, the constitution provides a systematic provision. So it is, as you have noticed, it is an indirect election because people of India do not participate directly in the election of the president. That is also a point. But it is an indirect election. And what is the basis of the election? That is proportional representation. By means of single transferable vote with secret ballot. So kindly remember the system of votings or the election system of the president, which we have borrowed from Irish constitution. And one thing I would like to tell that though it is called proportional representation because the population of the country are proportionately represented in the country in the electoral college, and it is indirect election. But in a proportional representation, typical proportional representation by single transferable vote system, there is another provisions key at a time some dignitaries are elected, but here the President of India is the person to be elected in this process. So this system of proportional representation is not exactly implanted in Indian context. It is called alternative vote system. So it is criticized as alternative vote system. It's not proportional representation, but we have to mention that it is proportional. Then you can look at as there is the electoral college. Those MLAs and MPs have a specified number of votes because it is indirect election, so they represent the people, and there is a formula to calculate the number of votes of each MLA. It is total population of the state, total number of members in the state, elected members in the state legislative assembly into 1 by 1000. If you consider Odisha case, suppose Odisha has a population before, that is in you can say in 1991 census or anything like that, 3 crore population. So you have to divide it by 150 members. Suppose 147 is an odd number, so 150 we are taking, and 1 by 1000 you can take. So first you can delete this 3 and it is 1. So you have 3 crore, yes, 3 crore population. So that is the things. Then 3000 by 15, so Dui and 200 votes. So each MLA, one MLA in Odisha counts 200 votes. In this slide, all the value of all the MLAs in different states and state and legislative assemblies, the union territories, are calculated by the Election Commission of India. Then total value of MLAs of the state, by value of MPs, it is counted as all the vote value of the all 28 states will be totaled, will be added, and the total will be divided by total number of elected members of parliament, that is 543 and 233. So that is the thing. So this in this way, the vote value of MLA and MPs are calculated. After voting value is calculated, each voter is assigned with the number of votes he has to deliver. And when the election is over, there may be electoral debuts or quota, sorry. And the quota is the total number of valid votes polled divided by 1 plus 1 means 1 plus number of posts, that is 2 plus 1. So this is the quota. If a candidate reaches the quota in the first counting or in latter counting, then he will be declared president. That is called electoral quota. So in this way, I hope you have understood. And each member, I am telling you what is written here. There is a provision for presidential election, and there are 4 candidates. And if 4 candidates are there, okay, so serial number, there is a preference. So it is name, just a minute. The name of the candidate. Suppose you have 4 candidates in the fray, and you have to see that 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has a name. It has first preference. Second president. Second preference. Third and fourth. So the name. It is first preference. It is second preference. It is third preference. It is fourth preference. X, Y, Z, A. So candidate have to give options of his all his preferences, four preferences. Who is his first choice, who is his second choice, and who is his third choice or fourth choice. Depends how many numbers are contesting. If they come and they tick like that, and they can do like that. Okay, then in this way they will go to vote. Okay, so if after the voting is over, the invalid votes are taken off, and the valid votes of each candidate is counted. The first preference votes of each candidate is counted, and if in the first counting, if any candidate secures the quota, then he will be declared as the president of India. Otherwise, another procedure is adopted. The last, the voting, the number of votes secured, lowest number of votes secured by the candidates is eliminated, and his second preference votes are calculated and transferred to the remaining candidates. This system continues until a person achieves quota, and the moment a person achieves quota, he is declared as the president. The Election Commission of India declares it. Okay, so this is the logic, this is the methodology of calculation of the president's office. Okay, so these are the things. Okay, so this is the things, and remember, election is conducted by the Election Commission of India, and any disputes related to election of the president is referred to the Supreme Court only. Any dispute related to the election of the president, the matter is referred the it is also a point of want to remember who decides the disputes of elections of the president. That is your Supreme Court, not the Election Commission of India. So now we are now the president is elected, and we have completed the discussion on the election of the president. Remember the articles also, because they are quite essential to mention. And I told you Election Commission of India conduct the business. This is it. Then turn. Then who gives oath? Okay, we shall go back to oath that we skipped just a few minutes ago. Okay, So that is oaths and appearance. Article 60 of Indian Constitution contains oath or appearance. Article 60. So Article 60 states that the President will be given oath by the Chief Justice of India or any senior most judge of the Supreme Court. Okay. And in his oath, he reads that he will faithfully exercise in the office. He will preserve and protect, defend the Constitution, and to devote himself to the service and well-being of the people. That is called your oath. So he faithfully exercises the office, the preserve, protect, defend. There is three words: preserver, protector, defender, and devotes himself to the service and well-being of the people of India. So these are the okay. Then term of office. President remains in office for a fixed period of time, that is 5 years, from the date he enters upon the office. 5 years from the date he or she okay, from the date he she enters upon the office. He may resign his office by writing to the president, and he is eligible for re-election also, and he will continue until the new president takes over the charge. He can continue. That is term, and term is mentioned in Article 60. Then with regards to emolument, the salary of the president, it is now 5 lakh per month, and it is charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India, and the salary has been increased to 5 lakhs since 1958. Sorry, that is you can say 2018, and it is made after the 7th Pay Commission recommendations. Apart from that, as you have you can see it on the screen that the presidential palace in the world, the Rashtrapati Nilam at Bolaram, Hyderabad, and district building at Chabra, Simla, are the official retreat residence of the President of India. So he is given wide privileges in the Constitution. So that is your emoluments of the Constitution. Okay, then we shall discuss vacancy, but before that, let us have a look at the president. So 52 is there shall be a president of India. 53 is the executive powers of the president of India, and 54 I told you the election of the president of India, and 55 method of election. Okay, that is okay. Okay, then 55 is manner of election, 56 term, 57 eligibility for re-election, 58 qualification, 59 conditions, 60 oath, 61 amendment, and 62 that is not hidden, that is not visible. 62 is vacancy in the office of the president. Apart from these articles, there are also other articles beyond part 5 related to president. For example, 356, he can declare president's rule, and there is also legislation for legislative power of the president, that he can legislate for the peace and progress of the certain union territories like Andaman Nicobar Island, Puducherry, that is your Lakshadweep, Daman, Diu and Dadra Nagar Haveli. Okay, so that is the thing. So how the office of the president falls vacant? Vacancy arises under Article 362. Sorry, vacancy arises under Article 62 of the Constitution. And there are certain circumstances when the office of the president will fall vacant. For example, as you can see on the screen, the office of the president may fall vacant under the following circumstances: completion of the prescribed form term of 5 years, then on resignation by the president to the vice president, on his removal by the process of impeachment, on his death while in office, so death also lead, and the past president to die in office was Zakir Hussain, Mr. And in 1969, he was the first president too, and second president. Okay, so second president is this Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad to die in office. Okay, and another point is when he disqualifies to continue in office or his election is declared void, his office can be declared vacant. So there are 5 grounds: one, two, three, four, 5. One is completion, one is resignation, one is impeachment, one is death, another is that is disqualified, creed. Is that clear? So what happens when vacancy arises in the office of the president? What happens when vacancy arises in the office of the president? When vacancy arises in the office of the president, the vice president takes over the charge of the president, but he will continue as the president for a period not more than 6 months. And within the 6 months, there shall be an election. And if the vice president is not in a position, then the Chief Justice of India or the senior most judge of the Supreme Court will serve as the acting president. The first acting president of India was Dr. B.B. Giri in 1969 when he resigned from the office of the vice president and went for election campaign. So he became the acting president of India for several days. Then when he resigned, then M. Hidayatullah became the second acting president of India, and he was the first and only CJI to occupy the office of the acting president of India. But during vacancy, vice president and the person who occupies the office and is called acting president enjoys all the powers and privileges of the president of India during that term, including the salary and allowances. This provision of representation by Parliament in the office of the president when it falls vacant is also prevalent in the USA, but USA has a different provision that the vice president will continue In case there is a vacancy in the office of the president, the vice president will continue until the completion of the term. There will be no interim election to the office of the president of the USA. But in India, it is only 6 months. That is the biggest difference between the provision prevalent in America and prevalent in our country. So that is Article 62. Remember, and what are the points? So that is creed. That is your completion of the term, resignation of the president by impeachment, then death, disqualification. Is that clear? So that is vacancy. Okay. And I told you what happens in the office of the president. We have discussed already conditions of office of the president under Article 59. We have discussed 4 conditions. That he should not hold any office of profit under any government in India, under any government or government assisted bodies. He will not hold any office of profit, then he will not be a member of either House of Parliament or state legislature. He will be entitled without payment of rent to use his official residence, and also entitled to certain fixed amount as salary. And the emolument and allowances for the office of the president are non-votable expenditures. So these are the conditions of the office of the president. Now we shall look at the procedure of impeachment. The president impeachment provision of the constitution is borrowed from the USA, and it is mentioned under Article 61. Impeachment is a motion, is a resolution. The parliament has the sole authority to impeach or bring an impeachment motion in either house. And before introduction of the bill, there is a charge sheet prepared by the members. And any charge sheet related to impeachment of the president must be approved by 1/4 of the total strength of the house. So a very considerable number of members is fixed to recommend or to allow the impeachment motion to be initiated. It is in order to avoid any type of flimsy and baseless allegations against president. So when 1/4 member of the house concerned signs that is your charge sheet, and the motion is prepared and it is to be moved, impeachment motions or resolution. But before that, the president is given 14 days advance notice to regarding this matter. After president's lapse of 14 days, the motion or the resolution is initiated in either house of parliament. Okay, and after it is introduction, after discussion on the bill has to be uh, passed by the house in 2/3 majority. In 2/3 majority. Then it will go to the second house, and second house will before passing the resolution must constitutes an investigating committee, and the nature of investigating committee or the characteristic or the composition of the investigating committee is not mentioned in the constitution. It is left to the parliament to constitute a committee, and the investigating committee examines the allegations against the president. The president may appear in person or through representatives before the investigating authority. And if the investigation getting authority is fully satisfied that the president is really guilty of the offense or the charges, then it submits the paper to the second house, and on the basis of the report of the august body, the president stands removed the day when the second house passes the impeachment resolution. So this is a cumbersome, difficult procedure to remove the constitutional president of India. No president has so far been removed. Okay, so this is the criteria to mention or to write about the impeachment of the president. Remember, it is borrowed from the USA. It is a quasi-judicial procedure because the investigating work is carried out by legislature, which is a non-legislative body, non-judicial body. So, as a legislature which is not a non-judicial body, examines the case and finalizes it, hence it is called a quasi-federal procedure and quasi-federal characteristic theory. And I told you that the impeachment is a resolution or a motion introduced in either house of parliament. There is no restrictions. Okay, so in this way, the office of the president the president of India is impeached. For your information, no president of India has so far been impeached by parliament, even not a single chance there has been an initiation or introduction of a bill or resolution against the president. Okay, but another notable things regarding impeachment, if the president is impeached after 2 years of office service in office. So if after 2 years he is impeached and he has to demit the office or he has to resign, but the acts done before the impeachment motion by the president, acts done by the president before the impeachment motion remains valid and remains in force. They cannot be annulled. They cannot be annulled, rejected, or declared void. So this is all about your for impeachment procedure. We have discussed so many things related to procedures of impeachment. We have completed today. Although we had a technical issue in between, we lost 5 minutes in between. But we have completed so many things about president. Kindly remember the need for a president. Often there is a question in your mains examination, and you can be asked also write about the qualifications or the short note. You can write about the election of the president. Also, is a long question. And remember, the election disputes related to the president are resolved by the Supreme Court, not the Election Commission of India. We have also discussed the oaths or affirmation by the president. And kindly remember the wordings that are used for the nomination of for the oath of the president. Then we have discussed the election in a broader manner. We have discussed the composition of the electoral college, and I repeat it. If two or three state legislative assemblies are dissolved or not present, that means a vacancy will arise in the electoral college, but that will not affect the election. Election will be conducted even if two or three states do not participate in it. So vacancy in the electoral college does not hamper the election prospect of the election commission for president of India. Okay, and we have noticed that Article 54 and 55 of Indian Constitution are related to the elections. As it is an indirect election, so the voting value of MLAs and MPs are calculated. We have seen and discussed the mechanism or the formula to gather or to ascertain the number of or the vote value of an ML and MP. Then I also told you in what manner the election to the office of the president is being conducted. That is also a kind of things. Okay, then term of office, that is you can say it is 60. Term is 60. Article 60 terms talks about term. And the term is that I told you it is 5 years. He can be re-elected as many times as he can, and he can continue the office even after the completion of the term until the new president takes over the charge. Then emoluments, as we have already noted, how much emoluments he gets since 2018. He gets 5 lakh per month charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India. We have also thrown a brief look at some important articles related to the president. I hope you will go through the classes again and also be confirmed about the procedures. Then vacancies notable under article noted down under article 62 of the constitution, and there are 5 grounds that we had discussed, that creed, creed. So creed method represented is vacancy. So you can get a direct question in mains examination. Okay, so discuss the 5 points and also discuss what happens when there is a vacancy in the office of the president. Also compare it with American president in 1 or 2 lines. So these are the things about conditions we have discussed under Article 59, procedure of impeachment. And another thing of impeachment is that the electoral college consists of the removal resolution is carried out by the parliament, and here all the members, including nominated members and obviously elected and nominated members, participate in the election. But here it is to be noted that the nominated members do not participate in the election of the president, but they do participate in the impeachment of the president. On the contrary, the elected members of Legislative Assembly do participate in the election, but do not participate in the removal or impeachment of the president. So that is also the point to be remembered. And they do not participate, they do not have any say in the impeachment, because impeachment is a prerogative of the parliament. Nobody can initiate it, nor the state legislature. Okay, so who does not participate, who participate, what is the strength of the composition, and how it is regulated, how it is conducted, we have discussed in a lengthy manner regarding all the provisions related to the president. And in the next class we shall be discussing about the powers of the president for that and then we shall have some MCQs on office of the president. Okay, then we'll shift to next part of the executive. Okay, so thank you very much for watching us and for following us, for giving us boost to carry on our work. We will continue to work and continue to satisfy your dream, satisfy your ambition, your odds. We are always with you. Okay, so that is the things. Okay, so thank you very much again for watching me, and also you are watching later. So whenever you feel any comment, any type of statement, or any type of things that you want to give us, you can post it here. We shall go through it and take or take action, or be prepared accordingly. Okay. Okay, thank you very much again.